When you download an app, you don't ask, where is it made from? You look at it and you're like, does it serve a purpose that I require? You download it, you will test it once or twice. If it's good, it's there to stay. And this is one of the things that a lot of SMEs needs to keep in mind. They're not competing with their neighbor. They're competing with the rest of the world.
Tejarah Talks.
Hi, I'm Jamal Al Asmi, and welcome to Tejarah Talks, Oman's premier business podcast. From green manufacturing to Gen Z and the creative industries, we explore the exciting trends and game-changing ideas that are shaping our business community. No matter whether you're a C-suite veteran, a startup pioneer, or a curious business enthusiast, we've got you covered. Today, we're joined by Shabib Al Maamari, MD of Visit Oman, and Hamood Al Hamdan, Director of Tech Ecosystem Development Department at the Ministry of Transport, Communication and Information Technology. Thank you for joining us.
Over the past 10 years, Nodal has worked on some of Oman's most important digital transformation projects, including the Invest Easy portal and the Oman e-Census 2020. We've also been committed to developing local entrepreneurial talent through our Oman Talent Hub. With digital transformation playing a key role in Oman's Vision 2040, we're excited to see what's next for the country and how we can continue to be part of its journey.
So guys, m-commerce has evolved a lot over the last few years. I'd like to start by asking you, Shabib, the question, has it really changed in your opinion? And what does it really mean for businesses and consumers?
Yep. So if we take a look back at the beginning of m-commerce, from a personal perspective, I would say, it was always linked on PC. Laptops, but then a big transformation going forward with mobile ecosystem itself evolved, and then apps introduced, m-commerce then basically became an integral part of our daily life. When it comes to m-commerce, it's not only goods, it's foods, it's services, it's many things encompassed in the word m-commerce, and then at the palm of your hand. So from an evolving perspective, there's a huge jump that happened in e-commerce that led to m-commerce as we know it today.
Why do you think, Hamood, why do you think consumers want to shop using their phones? You know, I mean, obviously the best way to experience anything would be in my opinion, would be to be there in a mall. Then of course on the computer, at least you've got a large screen. So what is it that the consumer really benefits from using their phone?
Basically, we're talking about convenience. It's saving time. Basically, let's say if you're using an app to make an order, to find for a new product, it saves your information. It knows everything about you. It has already personalized and customized what you think you might order next time. Sometimes it suggests to you. So there's some artificial intelligence happening in the back end, depends on the app that you're using. So that given expectation is already there. People do not want to open a website, look for the product that they think they're looking for, then find something else, too many choices. So it would differ, of course, from one person to another. But in essence, saving time, the convenience of just popping my phone and quickly ordering something and forgetting about it.
I know we're diving in deep quickly here, but this sort of, you mentioned the custom information, the I guess beyond demographics, even psychographics, looking at patterns of behavior of the consumer. Can businesses actually leverage that to their advantage?
They already do. When anyone's using any application on their phone, they're already giving permission for that application to access a set of data, of information that is already being produced on the phone. most of the users do not read the list of permissions. If we actually read the list of permissions, we might delete most of the applications we are using. So that's something we need to keep an eye on. But in general, any company, when they create an app based on the list they would have a justification why they're asking for certain permission. But on the side that you agree on giving that data, all the analytical data that is coming together based on your location, on all the personal information that you put in, the timing that you're making the orders, the timing of when you're opening the application, how fast are you opening, closing the application, that gives a lot of information that any business would translate into a business opportunity. If my app is being used for only 30 seconds, it means I have 30 seconds to convince the user to go through the steps, make an order, and close it. I don't have 3 minutes. I don't have 5 minutes that I thought I used to have because I'm sharing too much information in my application. So that kind of information is gold. And it's how the tailoring basically of the user experience around it.
So we've seen the shift. We're moving from e-commerce towards m-commerce, and I understand that around 40% of all online sales now is through mobile devices. So there's definitely a shift. How can Omani companies and businesses sort of, leverage this opportunity? How can they, build a solid online presence? And Shabib, if you could have a go at answering that.
Sure. I think one thing that all local SMEs that are serious about commerce, they need to think seriously today that the local market is not their market in terms of geography. It's the globe. But then what's your value proposition and how can you tap into different technologies today? There are different service providers in the sphere of m-commerce and use that in your advantage to push your product or your service. And we have few examples of integrators and aggregators that any SME can plug into, and in few minutes, we're not talking even days, can be connected to the World Wide Web via a mobile and start offering their services and their goods. The easiest, I would say, are the social media accounts that you can create, connect to, and then offer your services and your goods. We've all seen the massive transformation that came through Instagram. Started as an app where you share moments, pictures, and then all of a sudden we're surprised that people are selling stuff on Instagram, and Instagram is not the only platform there. So when you publicize your goods and services on Instagram, you're publicizing to billions of people. It's not your local community or Oman or the region anymore. But then out of all of this, massive number of people who are advertising, how do you stand out? And this is the trick. This is where SMEs need to think deeply from a value proposition perspective, the best techniques, how to go about promoting their services and their goods. It's easy to connect, but then to sell and to convert is the magic word, I would say, in the case of e-commerce.
Thank you, Shabib. Hamood, are there support programs or initiatives which are helping local businesses and entrepreneurs adopt m-commerce? And can you share any of those programs with us?
From government perspective, we can look at the Authority of SME Development. They have ran a number of programs specifically to support digitizing SMEs, or basically taking them through the process of either creating social accounts, creating website, web presence, e-commerce, join e-commerce platforms and applications that give them a digital presence. So the digitization is the first step for a majority of the number of SMEs that are, we would say, running a traditional business, and they want to have a internet or internet-based, commerce-based businesses. So there's government initiatives similar to the SME authority that are being provided. And additionally, there's a number of other initiatives from the ecosystem, entrepreneurial coaches, entrepreneurial enablers that are providing similar programs, and then they could be joined by the SMEs. They could leverage a lot of also online courses that are available, whether from local content or even from regional content in Arabic and English as well.
Do you feel that, or do you see this is still a hot topic? People are still talking about it. There's still a focus on m-commerce here in Oman. What's your take, Shabib? Do you see this as an important topic and it's on people's radar?
Definitely, that level of convenience, as mentioned by my colleague Hamood, is here to stay. People are using apps, they're using door-to-door services, they're ordering more things online. They might not recognize that this is m-commerce, but it is at the end of the day order through a mobile, be it a website, on an app basis. It doesn't make a difference as long as there is this level of convenience, a payment gateway, and then the level of delivery is acceptable. Because that's one of the challenges, I think, in my opinion, this logistical part of fulfilling. Locally, that's a big deal, and I think there is more work to be done from a fulfillment perspective. But going back to m-commerce, is it here to stay? It's here to stay and grow. And the idea of a marketplace being linked globally, that's by default. If you go online today and launch your own marketplace, a website, and you're selling something, anyone from around the world who's connected online can access your website, can basically go through a transaction and buy something. But then you, as a merchant, as a service provider, are you ready? Are you connected to the right aggregators? Are you connected to the right fulfillment center? Are you connected to the right logistic companies? We have fantastic companies here, local and international, that can help. But then this ecosystem needs to be connected seamlessly for a better user experience. And this is one of the things that a lot of SME, I would say, fail to do, is the focus on the customer itself. They build fantastic and phenomenal technologies, but then from a user experience, it's not the best. And people will drop an app, drop a service in a second, because there are many to choose and pick from. When you download an app, you don't ask, where is it made from? You look at it and you're like, does it serve a purpose that I require? You download it, you will test it once or twice. If it's good, it's there to stay. And this is one of the things that a lot of SMEs needs to keep in mind. They're not competing with their neighbor, they're competing with the rest of the world. And I go back to the idea of having a customer-centric strategy, and then looking at the customer journey from an m-commerce perspective. And that's your focus, that's your value proposition from phase one. And then the goods and services come later on.
So riffing on this point, we've opened the floodgates. This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And the question is, how can Omani businesses and entrepreneurs thrive? How can they be competitive when, there are potentially much bigger fish and bigger markets overseas? How can Omani companies, what can they do? Are there any tactics, Hamood?
When we look at any business, when we go and segment, who are they targeting? And as Shabib mentioned, there could be businesses operating from Oman, but they're competing with everyone in their business, in their actual sector, in their actual, the people who are targeting the same target segments that they are focusing on. So from a tactical perspective, one of the, I would say, default actions any business starting today, before even considering or thinking even doing a website, people are not thinking about creating a website. That used to be maybe 5-10 years ago. Now they're thinking about, the first thing I need to do is book my name in every social media platform is out there, especially the ones who are quite famous. And then with that, they have a presence. Other tactics they could be using is how to actually understand digital marketing. It's one of the critical paths, I would say, into leveraging your presence on the internet. If you don't know how to do digital marketing, if you're not being able to customize and target the ads you're creating. You're just spending money without actually getting proper results. Sometimes you'd be targeting your local market. Sometimes you do a lot of experimentation. You can target the regional. You can target by age. So there's a lot of details that get into it, and there's actually a number of certifications that are out there by different large companies like Google and some others, and they're actually all available for free. So having that access to that knowledge and using digital marketing as a key element of building your digital and online presence is, I would say, one of the best tactics they can start on.
So digital knowledge is critical. But Shabib, do you think having local knowledge, local knowledge of the consumer, the needs, the wants, the desires of the Omani people, is it also a critical component in m-commerce?
Definitely. It boils down at the end of the day on the target segment that you want to sell to. We've noticed through Visit Oman, there is a huge difference when it comes to how to communicate with your consumer. The core of Visit Oman is B2B digital services, where we provide the Omani supply through a booking engine that focuses on tourism, inbound tourism, and then we connect to source markets that historically sends tourists all around the world, and then we give them access to our booking engine. They go in and they find over 100 suppliers, 200 different experiences related to tourism. And then there is an element of airline, hotel, but these are all local suppliers. But then what we've discovered also, the same supply through channel managers, and that's a very common technology in tourism, can be connected to other aggregators and other players. So from a B2B perspective, you turn into B2B to C. And this elevates the services and the opportunity for local SMEs going from local to international. Going back to the question of domestic and locals, the same supply can be offered locally, domestically, but I can't offer it the same way I'm offering this supply and these services and these experiences using the same terminology, same marketing tactics to the international market. So we've decided, with the support of the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism, to have a standalone booking engine just for domestic tourism. This will see the light in the next few weeks, inshallah. The language will be local. The approach will be local. We'll use local slang. That catches the attention. But then when you go down and ask me why are you doing this, there is a demand that is not being fulfilled. And we think from a commerce perspective, mobile would be perfect as a medium, as a channel to push these products. But then going back to the question, is it different? Does it matter? Yes, it does. Because if I go and use French domestically or use German domestically, no one would look at the product. They would assume that this is not for them. But then when you take that extra step, you go domestic and then you talk to the local community and residents, and you tell them about, look at these fantastic experiences. You capture the imagination, and that's phase one from a tourism perspective. You grab their attention and then you bring them to your booking engine, and then the conversion opportunity happens.
Thank you. So considering now the fact that half of smartphone users, and I think most of us are now smartphone users, half of the purchases are happening now on social media. So there's a move, and people are using platforms like Instagram and Facebook to make purchases. Is there a way that Omanis can capitalize on this? Omani companies and startups, are there tactics they can use to capitalize on this?
So most of the startups that I've worked with one of the key tactics that they've used is to actually create knowledge, create a basis of understanding on the services they provide, the product that they're using, and targeting messaging for the specific customers that they're specifically want to get their attention. Sometimes you would speak to a wider demographics, but at the end of the day, you want to specifically target a specific segment that your messaging will be tailored for them. And then as you would go and you developed your account, you would start to even customize different messages for different segments of customers. And then in this way, you start to get better retention, more follow-ups, more comments, more likes, and sometimes your account will start to actually generate a revenue for you, even though it's not your actual business. Your business, let's say it's an app doing something else. But that's how you would have, as a business, multiple incomes, multiple resources as you're building your brand. And now if we look at from influencers that are paid in thousands to millions for ads that they are doing, and into companies that if they share or tag you in any of the topics, you would get exposure thousands and millions again. So that kind of leverage, that kind of social power is real and can be highly used in multiple ways.
Have you noticed, Shabib, a difference? I mean, you've obviously, running Visit Oman, and you have a massive online presence. The type of content that you push out there, having that engaging, informing, inspiring content, does it make a difference what content you post online? And have you seen the same benefits?
It makes a lot of difference what type of content and where. What's the platform that you're posting on? Something that might be acceptable on LinkedIn might not make any sense on Instagram, and vice versa. And we use that to our advantage because we know the audience are a bit different and their level of interest is different. For us, we're B2B. So it doesn't make sense to try to sell on Instagram. But what we use Instagram for is for inspiration, for creating a dream. Here specifically, talking about the destination Oman. So we try to pick and choose content that makes sense for the audience that are in Instagram, that would lead them to talk to some of the partners that we work with from a B2B perspective. We are running another campaign in collaboration with the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism. They recently launched a global destination marketing campaign, which is B2C. We're the technology provider. The conversation is totally different there, where it's heavily focused on e-commerce and commerce with a call to action in the advertisement there. So you see an ad in the source market, and this is a B2C campaign, so we're hitting the consumer. They get inspired. Call to action will take them to a landing page. The landing page will trigger basically the need to know more, or even a conversion. So the book now there button is there to serve them, to take them to book an engine and then bring them here in Oman. And then when you talk about an ecosystem perspective from different platforms, so you have the booking engines working from a B2B, B2C, and then you have the social media also serving you. But also then when they land in Oman, we are preparing to, in collaboration again with the ministry, funded by the ministry, to launch an app that would serve as a tourist companion. You would want to continue the customer journey, the tourist journey, or rightfully also called the guest journey. They booked on their laptop, they come, you want to continue the conversation with them and upsell. The app won't be only for selling, it'll be also information about Oman when you're on the ground. So roads, things that they need to know about, free stuff happening, events in the country that they need to be aware of. And then the upsell opportunity, do you like what you see here? You can do 1, 2, 3, 4. This is very important when you look at the ecosystem, is where does the customer sit and how can you capture and create value for the destination. In our advantage, we work with a lot of SME, so whatever we do heavily impacts the local economy, especially from an SME perspective that works in the tourism sphere.
Let's move to larger organizations, larger companies. Those who are already exporting and want to reach an even broader international audience. How can they begin to leverage from e-commerce to increase their market share?
To answer your question, I'll take it from a different perspective. Basically, large companies, one of the practice, I would say, is to acquire local businesses. So let's say there's a startup just early stage or just in the scale up right now, and they're gaining momentum, they're getting traction. There's a lot of users, customers base that they have. And a large organization or let's say a unicorn or a big startup is coming to the region and is targeting that specific startup in that specific country. So they could take the time to flood the market with a lot of advertisements and then marketing for their application to be used, or basically the commerce or the business that they have, or to actually acquire a business that already has established in that local business. And so they would have an immediate access to all the data, all the analytics, all the information they need to actually have a better chance in penetrating that market in a much faster and, I would say, efficient and effective way. One of the examples we would see is Uber with Kareem, and how they basically acquired the business and started to be more regional in a very fast way compared to just coming to the market, which they did. They started to be in the market, but then they saw the leverage of acquiring Kareem as part of actually, instead of competing with them, they've joined hands and actually acquired them completely, yes.
Is there, if we could stay with you for a moment, Hamood, payment gateways?
Yes.
Historically an issue. Do we still have that issue today?
It's okay. We can look at it as an issue or it's regulation. So we will always have regulation. So that's my quick answer. But to be specific, every country would have their own way of regulating the payment gateways that are used in the country. And there's payment gateways that are, or methods of payment that are global, like PayPal and other tools that are either accepted in your local country or not. A lot of methods of payment are becoming more and more demanded on local markets since they're used in multiple countries as well. So there's the local pressure of creating alternative methods of payment beyond the payment gateway that we all know and use. So it'll all be a challenge from the perspective of, do we have enough methods of receiving payments? Are we allowing enough different financial services to be providing the payment gateways, to provide the solution that can actually connect the business to the market and to get paid? From a business perspective, it gets really painful to pay the extra cost to get payment from a payment provider beyond your borders. And sometimes you actually get a very good deal from an international payment gateway compared to your local ones. So it differs based on the leverage, but it'll be in most countries a barrier of entry. For example, right now in Oman, we have Thawani, we have OnPay, and a couple of payment service providers that are available and providing services. And it's been quite tough for any international financial or fintech to enter to the market. However, that could be some of the things that are changing in the coming months to years. Again, depends on the central bank and their strategy of helping the local startups to grow and keeping the big, we would say, fintechs or sharks from entering the market too quick, and to give them the chance to survive once those big companies come into the market, because it's going to be brutal.
Shabib, you gave us some exciting news. So Tejarah Talks now becoming the place to hear first things. We understand that there is a new platform that will be generated for domestic travelers, which is great news, very exciting. If we reverse the situation, a large organization is very successful here in Oman, understands its customer base here, but now wants to start exporting to the world. how can they, how can they leverage m-commerce to do that? Any thoughts and ideas there?
Definitely, the question here, Jamal, is can you afford not being online if you're serious about growth? And you see large corporation trying to figure out this commerce and m-commerce by creating their own platforms, going and creating these massive websites with market places. But the matter of fact that it's not that difficult, it's not that complicated. If you want to start promoting and selling online, you go to the big players instead of competing with the large ones. You talk to them, you start this conversation, and you leverage out of their worldwide presence, and you connect through them. If not through them, through aggregators. And we've done so for the local SMEs. We're recently in WTM London signed the first of its kind agreement with one of the biggest channel managers in the world, specifically for tours and experiences. And basically they are connected to the biggest 2,500 plus platforms in the world that sell experiences in tourism. The big one is Booking.com. So basically through this connection, through this technology, we will take the approved local supply on our platform. So you do the B2B, but then the C. So you connect through aggregators to the big players. Instead of trying to figure out how to compete with the likes of Booking.com, you actually work with Booking.com. Now, the disadvantage here is it's their terms and condition. But then you're talking about a company that controls 40% of the world distribution when it comes to hotels. The same applies with other sectors. You need to identify the big players, the big aggregators, the big platforms, and then you open this dialogue with them, you connect, and then you market and sell. In our case, a lot of people won't see the brand Visit Oman on their preferred booking engine. And there are many examples. The most recent, we've talked to the biggest two in Spain, Destinia and Civitatis. Millions of people use those platforms. They don't know Visit Oman, but they trust the brand that they work with. They look at the product. The product is sourced through us. So it's approved for Civitatis, it's approved for Destinia. And then since it's approved, it's acceptable to the end consumer. And what SMEs and local entrepreneurs care about are sales, are conversion at the end of the day. Large corporation can do the same strategy, start connecting. I don't think they can afford not being connected. They need to move today.
Right. You mentioned leveraging existing platforms, aggregators. You mentioned at one point as well about speaking the language of the consumer. But beyond kind of putting a new wrapping or packaging on the product, are the products themselves having to change in order to meet, international markets' needs? Do you see that happening in tourism?
Definitely. At the end of the day, who are you speaking to? Who's your target audience? In our case, I will give you another example. It's a big deal to market and sell in German when you sell to Germans. It's not acceptable to do it in English. It is acceptable, but it's preferred if you do it in German. The language there is not an actual translation of the product itself. And the product type itself, you can't just have a blanket approach and assume that every single product that we have is going to sell there. You need to talk to the source market, talk to the players, partner up from a B2B perspective, and then they handpick products, and sometimes it goes through product development. So a bit of a customization happens there. But at the end of the day, after all of this, we go digital, and we provide that convenience of a seamless experience, user journey, and bookable live. I need to book it. I need a confirmation immediately, and I need a well-established payment gateway.
Is this, Hamood, is this an exciting thing for businesses? Do they see it as an opportunity, or they see it more of a threat? The fact that the world is opening up now, and basically everyone is fair game, and obviously the competition comes in. What is the sentiment among Omani businesses What are you seeing? Are entrepreneurs' eyes, lighting up, or is it sort of a bead of sweat coming down the forehead? What is the general sentiment here in Oman?
I would say both. So it is a threat and it's an opportunity. It's how you're positioning yourself. How are you positioning your business to take advantage of the technology, take advantage of doing mobile commerce, e-commerce, social commerce, and meanwhile actually do your proper market research. Because the lack of knowledge will increase basically the risks that you're taking in your business. And doing proper market research, doing basic competitor analysis. And a lot of businesses are doing direct competitors, but actually there's the indirect competitors who could, especially the big ones, who would easily can get into your business by just diversifying their target. So that kind of analysis is a constant activity for any business. Knowing your customers, what do they want, what's their problem, what are you solving, how can you reach them, and then who are the competitors who are solving that to them, and is there anyone actually solving? There's always someone solving it if you look at it from a global perspective. And the advantage and opportunity is, it's 99% there's someone who has done it before. 1, 2, 10, 100 companies. How can you create a value proposition that will create some level of uniqueness at least, or advantage that you have compared to them, and move your business and leverage it from that perspective?
Augmented reality. This is the new craze. I think Apple did a wonderful job of capitalizing on this craze. I understand it's contributing $120 billion in the mobile commerce sales. Is there anything Omani companies can do to leverage AR? And if we could start with you, Shabib, anything happening inside the tourism space? Seeing is believing.
Yeah. So I'm familiar with what's happening in the sector. But to be fully transparent and frank, I'm yet to see that technology linked to the real conversion, at least here domestically. It's a phenomenal technology that you can use for awareness. It does capture the imagination. People like they enjoy it. I've seen few technologies a few times used in many conferences and exhibitions, and people pause and look at it and they want to test it, they want to use it. But I'm yet to see real conversion, and to me that's the end game. If you don't convert, then this is a gimmick and nice to have and not a must have. So to me, my advice is, if you think about the technology, you need to have that entire user experience mapped out. And you think about, where would I capture the imagination? And how can I convert that imagination to an aspiration that will lead to a conversion, that would lead to a sale? So I know that it's getting better. I know it's here to stay, but I'm yet to be converted into a believer.
Hamood, can you counter that?
Yeah,
online shopping experiences have been improved through AR. Have you got any examples?
Allow me to jump into tourism as well. Basically, if we talk about museums, using augmented reality could enhance the new information that can be provided. Digital content can be provided through augmented reality experiences, and that's some of the practical examples that can be done. But it's all about the client to adopt and believe in that technology. So there's some resistance to adapting some of the technologies in different clientele, and there's the technology that has to be efficient and the quality quite high enough to be utilized as augmented reality. And one of the things when we look into, let's say, experiences, maybe touristic experiences that you have, with augmented reality, you can enhance that experience. You can say who has walked here, what has been done, how old is this city or area, and that kind of information. You might not have a tour guide to tell you all of that. So it's like you're having a virtual tour guide with you while you're going through a journey. So there's a couple of applications, but I agree with Shabib that it has to be well provided, quality oriented, and that someone can expect and have. Another quick example I could give is one of the upcoming platforms that will provide it also through mobile is Overse. It's one of the local startups, and they're launching this platform that would have a virtual reality experience that has a social experience and would having as part of it a number of interactions and transactions that can happen, whether it could be an event like this, totally virtual, so we don't have to meet physically next time, and you can have training sessions, you can have business meetings, and actual transaction happening throughout that experience, and that kind of give you a glimpse of what could be next when you talk about commerce. Yeah.
Thank you, Hamood. Shabib, we like to take the full opportunity of you being here and delve a little bit deeper into how m-commerce can really impact the experiences that we could potentially shape here in Oman. How much impact are you seeing with that Visit Oman is actually having on tourism, given it's such a critical industry for Oman? How much impact is Visit Oman having, and what do you see ahead?
Yep. So for us, since going live commercially, it's been a year and a half only. And 2024 is a big year for us because it's the year where we'll be launching a very serious digital distribution technology for the entire country. And by digital distribution, it's taken the entire supply that we have today, over 200 different experiences provided by 80% of our local partners are SMEs, local SMEs. We're taking that and scaling that up to a global level. Focus on source markets that we're strong in. So when I say strong, Ministry of Heritage and Tourism are active in, and then the airline flies directly there. But then we've been talking to other 58 other airlines that are interested. And what happens is through the technology, you push these experiences to the airline, and the airline can package that with their tickets, and then they can sell Oman. Same goes when you push these through the technology, you push these experiences to local hotels. And then you have a whole new channel of concierge sitting at the desk. A walk-in customer, an existing guest would come and like, I have free time, what should I do? You need to have that digital platform, e-commerce, be it m-commerce, ready, live and bookable. So 2024 is our year and our promise to our local SMEs. We're taking the entire supply globally, inshallah.
Inshallah. So as we wrap up today's podcast, Hamood, any predictions for the future of m-commerce?
There's a shift when we're talking about m-commerce, so people using their phone basically, and then we're talking about smartwatches. We're then talking about wearables, smart wearables. So the technology will keep evolving, and maybe the majority of the solutions are provided on m-commerce right now, but keeping an eye on the next technologies. And now there's voice command based. You can have a ring, you can have a long list of devices. As long as you're keeping for your business, you're choosing the technology that actually serves your business. That's a good starting point, and not forgetting that it's all accessible. The knowledge, the technologies, it's all here and can be used from today and by anyone.
Shabib, I mean, obviously the awareness, making people aware of how great Oman is, m-commerce is serving that purpose, and Visit Oman is contributing greatly. But ultimately, we want people to come here and experience Oman and enjoy Oman. Do you have any predictions when it comes to the future? Keeping awareness to one side for a moment, do you have any predictions about how m-commerce will help improve the experience that customers have?
So a few technologies that we're looking at seriously and trying to figure out how can it add value to our value proposition. The first one is generative AI. A lot of the big players that sell tourism-related activities and services on mobile are already adapting to generative AI. And it's phenomenal what we're seeing and witnessing these days, where it would help you build an entire itinerary for you. So we make it easy for you to decide You give it a prompt, and then it would map out your entire trip and will book it for you, and will give you all that information. That's easier said than done in our case, but we're working towards it. Another new technology that we're looking at is buy now, pay later. That's a very interesting value proposition in travel and tourism, and we're trying to figure out how would that impact us commercially. Is it positive? Is it a risk at the time being? We're assessing. The third technology that we're looking at is tokenization. It's growing, and specifically in our case, it affects us greatly from a loyalty perspective. How can you provide tokenization through loyalty programs where people are buying on different platforms, but then they can claim their points through a digital platform that we provide, and instead of paying utility bill, you actually buy an experience that has to do with tourism, and you come through us or one of our partners that we are digitally connected to, and we bring you to experience Oman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that wraps up another episode of Tejarah Talks. Thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform and join us again next time. Until then, stay curious.
Tejarah Talks.